In this video, I'm going to teach you how to build a unified inbox for your favorite email newsletters, RSS feeds, and Twitter accounts using the reader feed section. This means that rather than jumping between a cluttered email inbox, social media, and various news sites just to keep up with what you love, your favorite content will be automatically pushed to one place where you can process it in peace. It's basically like your own custom social media feed filled with everything you care about and none of the drama or distractions. Your Reader account has two sections, your library and your feed. Your library is where everything you've manually saved for yourself lives. You can think of it as your permanent storehouse of documents you definitely want to read or reference. Your feed section is where things that are automatically pushed to you by someone else lives, like RSS feeds, email newsletters, and Twitter lists. You might only want to read some of these things, in which case you can move them to your library for safekeeping and let go of the rest. You might be wondering, why don't we just have one? So early on, we actually experimented with just having one inbox for everything. But in doing so, we discovered that the single inbox model didn't actually work in practice. It ended up resulting in a lot of our manually saved documents getting drowned out by noisy RSS feeds and pretty active email newsletters. This led us to realize that when combining a read it later functionality, like what you might find with Instapaper or Pocket, with RSS feed reader functionality, like Google Reader or Feedly, separating out these two functions into their own sections of the product made for a much more pleasant reading experience. If you're watching this, you probably already know that RSS stands for Really Simple Syndication. It's a way that you can subscribe to a blogger on the internet without having to constantly check their site for new articles. The RSS standard was really popular 15 years ago in the early days of the internet, and then social media stole its limelight by effectively transforming the way people discover links. But as people are becoming more intentional with their media diets, RSS feeds have begun to have a bit of a renaissance. If you've never used RSS before, it's all good. We've made it easy for new users such as yourself to get started. And if you're already a seasoned RSS user, we've got you covered too. The easiest way to subscribe to an RSS feed is from an article you've already saved to your Reader library. Reader is constantly scanning each document for the presence of an RSS feed on the domain. If it detects one, it will show a subscribe button on this right-hand sidebar. Once you subscribe, Reader will import the 5 most recent documents from that author to your feed and any new articles they publish going forward. Similarly, one of the fastest ways you can subscribe to a collection of high-quality feeds is to head to the Manage Feeds page and check out our Suggested Feeds feature. Reader scans each document in your library for the presence of an RSS feed and aggregates those here. Reader then uses our custom algorithm to classify those feeds into high signal or low signal. I personally recommend just subscribing to all the high signal feeds here and unsubscribing over time from those that aren't generating delightful content. If you're already an avid RSS user and have a collection of feeds from another service, such as Feedly, iKnowReader, or Feedbin, you can migrate all of those feeds over to Reader in one fell swoop. Simply download the OPML file from your feed service, then drag it on top of your Reader window to upload. In full transparency, while Reader is a powerful Read It Later app with feed reading capabilities, it's not designed to support high-volume feeds that produce hundreds or thousands of articles per day. If high-volume feeds are a non-negotiable aspect of your workflow, we do recommend sticking with a dedicated feed reader app. Last but not least, if you have a particular feed in mind, you can search for the author or paste the URL directly in our RSS search box. From the Manage Feeds page, you can unsubscribe from feeds, click into individual feeds, and even group feeds into folders, which will then appear in your sidebar. You can also create more advanced subsets of feeds and other documents, which I'll share in my next tutorial. Whereas RSS has been on a secular decline over the past few years, email newsletters have been on a meteoric rise with the advent of the creator economy. Email is an amazing way for creators to distribute their writing, but it's not always the best reading experience. I can personally attest it sucks when all this great content gets wedged between personal emails in my inbox. Thankfully, we've made it easy to import your favorite email newsletters to Reader. There's a couple ways you can do this. First, we always recommend checking if a newsletter has a companion RSS feed, as the RSS version of a newsletter tends to parse more beautifully with higher quality metadata and thumbnail images.
So beautiful.
This is the case 80% of the time, with platforms such as Substack, Ghost, and WordPress automatically creating an RSS feed for authors. If you can't find the companion RSS feed for a newsletter, or if you subscribe to a paid newsletter with exclusive paywall content, we recommend subscribing using your custom Reader email, which you can find by clicking on the plus icon and selecting Email. By default, your reader email will contain a random string of letters, but you can customize this so it's easier to remember. I'm going to change mine now. Please don't spam me. You'll also notice that your reader account has 2 custom emails, one for forwarding documents to your library and one for sending documents to your feed. You can also find your personal email in the Reader mobile app by going to Account and selecting Email. The final way to add email newsletters to your account is to set up an auto forward from your existing email client. Every email client is a little bit different, so I'll link instructions to the most common email providers below. Compared to web articles and blog posts, email newsletters are particularly tricky for us to parse into clean, distraction-free HTML. This is why we always recommend subscribing to the RSS feed of a newsletter if possible. If you're noticing that an email newsletter you subscribe to using your reader email address isn't parsing very well, you might try switching from the parsed HTML version, which we call Clean View, to Original View, which preserves the original styles and formatting of the email itself. You can switch into either Original or Clean View on desktop by clicking on this button at the top of the document, or on mobile by tapping the 3 dots at the bottom of the email. There are some trade-offs to using original styles, the main one being that it will force a white background even if you typically read in dark mode. Original View also overrides your usual font preferences and keyboard shortcuts. But you can still highlight the text when viewing an email in its original style, and some users find these trade-offs worth it, especially for heavily formatted newsletters such as this one. The last source you can subscribe to in your feed section is Twitter lists. Twitter lists are an amazing way to escape the algorithm and get back to the best parts of Twitter. These days, the default Twitter timeline is an endless stream of irrelevant hype and trolling from accounts you never followed. But thanks to Twitter lists, you can generate a custom feed made up exclusively of accounts you want to keep up with. When you subscribe to a Twitter list, you'll start receiving 2 digests per day in the morning and evening containing all new tweets from accounts on your list. To subscribe to a Twitter list, you'll first need to find or make a public list inside of Twitter. Here's a few I've made to keep up with friends and other people I admire. Simply copy the URL for the list and paste it into the same RSS box I mentioned earlier. Now that you've set up your feed and got it flowing with all this great content, let me teach you how to process it. The goal of your feed isn't to read every single thing that comes through it, but rather to quickly see content from your favorite creators and skim off the things you're most interested in. In your mobile app, we've developed a delightful skim UI for reviewing new feed items. To access this, simply open your feed and click on the square icon. You can swipe up to advance, swipe down to go back, save for later, and of course tap in to just start reading. To back out of this UI, just swipe from the left edge. Advancing marks a document as seen, so this UI is a great way to clear out your feed quickly. Thanks to this feature, you can review hundreds of articles per day without breaking a sweat or getting distracted. To triage your feed on desktop, open an article and hit J to jump to the next document or K to jump back. Same as on mobile, once you've opened a feed document, it'll be moved to your Seen tab. Alternatively, if you're just scanning headlines from the list view, you can mark an item as seen using your spacebar. If you spot an item that looks interesting and you want to save it to read later, hit L to move it to your library's later section. If there's a feed item that you end up reading on the spot and want to save, you can hit E to send it to your library archive for future reference. And of course, if you ever forget these keyboard shortcuts, you can hover over the document toolbar here. For optimal app performance, we do recommend clearing out your Seen section every so often using this Delete All button. And don't worry, you'll be given a chance to skip over any feed items that you may have highlighted before but forgot to move to your library. Alternatively, if you prefer to process your feeds in smaller groups, you can view them by folder or individually. So there you have it. You now have everything you need to build and customize your own personalized feed inside of Reader. As a recap, the Reader feed is where you can automatically import content from your favorite websites, email newsletters, and Twitter accounts for distraction-free reading. Earlier, I showed you how you can group your RSS feeds into basic folders for easy viewing. But if you want to build more advanced subsets of documents based on any combination of keywords, date added, and more, check out this tutorial.